Hey, y'all doing all right? Good. This is me. It is a Sunday night, and here we are again talking about stuff that's happening in America. You know, I have come to this conclusion that Christians are they're different, and this word "different" is not something that you all should boast about. I think Christians are a subculture that needs to be examined by the psychological industries. Because let me tell you, when a Christian gets involved, he or she pushes his or her Christianity in there to the point to where they actually reform the whole purpose of Jesus dying on the cross. It's an amazing thing to see. We'll talk about that in 60.
Report live, 7 days a week, always on time, but his time is not free. So Walter Jones, always on sleek. Latest trending topics, how you jumping out your seat. Controversial subjects, others can't touch it. Community full of people throwing rocks from the bunkers to politics, finance, music, and religion. Stirring up the poverty, bring healing to the village. Son named Walter, daughter named Rebecca. Grew up on the south side, who know knew it better. So Walter Jones, from the Tribeca. He got something to say, put your hands together.
Come on in, the water is fine.
The water's fine.
Hello, everybody. Walter Jones Show. I'm here. It is the weekend edition, baby. Come on in, the Watts fan. How y'all with you? Doing all right? Good. It's good to see all of you bunkers out there. I see you there on a Sunday night. Listen, it is cold all over America. It is cold. At the time of this recording, it's probably in its 20s here in Chicago. It's 26 degrees here, and the South has really been getting hit with northern wind and weather and snow. Atlanta got hit with snow, and y'all's flowers are dying. And we haven't seen this kind of weather pattern both in summer and winter in some of us have never seen it before, period. Especially what's happening in the, every now and then in American history, you'll have a moment. Atlanta had an ice snow apocalypse a few years ago when I was there. I flew in town to see my children, to attend an event or something. I rented a car, went around town, and then thank God I got on the airplane just enough time to fly out of town, and then just an hour later they shut all of Atlanta down. Y'all remember that snow apocalypse? When was that, you all? 2017, maybe 18? I can't remember. In the northern, us in the north was laughing at some of y'all because you didn't have the equipment or the salt, or you just didn't have the know-how how to drive in that kind of inclement weather. And then we realized how bad it was because children were being stranded on highways and school buses and what have you, and it was pretty bad. But some cities are just not ready, can't handle that kind of stuff. I don't know what would happen to Chicago if a hurricane came through here. I don't think we can handle it, but we could sure enough handle a snow. Snowstorms do nothing for us. We've gone through several of them. The blizzard of 68, the blizzard of 60, I think 2 years straight, and then the blizzard of my time, the blizzard of 1979. We had a blizzard actually like back-to-back, 78 and 79. It was pretty bad. It was January 28, 2014. Yeah, Atlanta. So it was pretty bad, but we could handle. And when snow hits Chicago's whoever's the mayor at the time makes sure that he's on par. He or she makes sure they get that snow up, because a mayor lost their bid for re-election because of the snow. And many states, northern states especially, make sure they get that snow up because they use Chicago as an example of what you don't do. Michael Balandic was a racist mayor, and he did when people were waiting on the trains and the buses. Mayor Balandic had the trains to not stop in the black and the brown neighborhoods, but to only stop in the white neighborhoods. And at that time, a white woman by the name of Jane Byrne was running for mayor, and she won mostly because of that. So how cities handle these types of catastrophes is very important. Now, some people are saying that the California fires happened because the Golden Globe was mocking God. That right there just gave me another headache. I didn't know this was. I was watching what is his name, Rogan podcast. Rogan and Mel Gibson was talking on the Rogan podcast about the Passion of the Christ and the Catholic Church and the resurrection and all these things. And Joe Rogan said something interesting.
An honor, but it was also you got the daylights beat out of you for it.
Yeah, because there's resistance first of all from secular Hollywood, where for whatever reason Christianity is the one religion that you're allowed to disparage.
Yeah.
Did y'all hear that? This is from a secular guy. This is for somebody who really was cussed on the shows, and he talks about some really weird stuff. But you know what he said here? The fact that a non-Christian is telling us and basically reminding us Christians telling us something we already know. You're preaching to the choir that Hollywood can't stand Christianity. Now I know y'all going where y'all think you think I'm going where you think I'm going, but I may not be going there. It is obvious that Hollywood hate Christianity, and they are allowed to make fun of your God. Okay?
Christianity is the one religion where people, all these progressive, open-minded, leftist people, they'll embrace all these different religions until it comes to Christianity.
Did y'all hear that? Now I'm stopping it here and there because Joe may have some kind of, I don't want to get the video snatched because of copyright issues. So I'm trying to use some kind of fair use. I sound like Social Fire. I'm trying to use fair use. All right.
And for whatever reason, that represents like white male, whatever it represents, colonialism, whatever it represents, it's negative.
Yeah, sure.
So you all obviously agree with this because this is what we've been knowing about since the
gotten a bad rap, and people do.
Since you were born, since the days of your mom and daddy, grandpappy, what have you, Christianity is a mockery, and it was going on, even in antiquity during Bible times and New Testament times. Christianity was a joke. American Christianity especially. Now, notice what he said, that other religions from Hollywood is respected and honored, especially Islam. And there is no way that you can make a movie or a sitcom, you can't even do a radio broadcast that puts Muhammad in a negative light. You just can't because Hollywood fear the repercussions from someone who is a orthodoxical, faithful, devout Muslim, or someone from other religions, maybe those of the Sikh, those Eastern religions and what have you. You just don't fool with them. But you can show fool with Christianity because in America it has become likened to a mutt language or mutt religion. And because we have laughed at the word sanctification, we laugh at it. It was hard for me to be a young man to say that I'm from the sanctified church because we were mocked. They called us holy rollers. But sanctification was very important because the sanctification is what the other religions were doing. I don't think y'all understand that. Even the cartoon South Park and several of those cartoons and Adult Swim and Cartoon Network and all these things. It's just amazing. But the other religions, whether they were, well, not whether, they are. There's only one God, one Son, through the Holy Spirit, period. All right? But for the sake of argument, these other religions are sanctified, meaning they are set aside. They have removed themselves, and many of them are cleansed from the follies of the world. And so this is why corporations will allow a man to go and pray a couple times a day during their workday because of his religion. But a Christian, if he asks the boss, can he do the same thing? Heck yeah, to the no. I can guarantee you none of y'all's bosses will let y'all go pray a few times a day because of your religion. But the Muslim man, he is allowed. The Jewish man, he's allowed. Not you. Why? It's not so much the world's fault. It's yours. Retribution, yes, for devout religion cults is diabolical. Christians got it backwards. Yeah, they fear Islam and mock God. So the Golden Globes mocked God in a bit. I saw the bit. Y'all can watch it. Y'all have seen it on YouTube and Facebook and Instagram and TikTok. And you who are devout Christians took that to mean that then God decides to set all these fires and burn down thousands of homes. People lost their lives because the Golden Globe decided to mock God. You know, this is a teaching channel, and it is embarrassing. Christians, come close. I'm a part of you. I'm either your big brother or I'm your little brother. I might even be your son. I might be your father. You embarrass me over and over and over again. I'm just embarrassed by you. I am. Because we always come up with some excuse for what happens in America and always push our Bible into it. And the reason why we do this is because we don't know our Bible. Number two, we hardly know God. Hardly. We just don't know him. Y'all remember Katrina, the hurricane that hit down there in New Orleans, and it spread out through some of the other border states? The number one reason why you Christians said that God had destroyed all that territory and killed all those people was because of voodoo. Voodoo. I mean, it's just amazing that God let all these other abominable sins to happen in all these other 49 other states. But because of the sin of voodoo down there, God decides to take a hurricane and wipe out the place. And here's the thing. Many of the saints were down there. Many of the saints were down there. Mama D says, as a former manager of Nordstrom's, we were asked to give our Muslim employees, that is, concessions during Ramadan. See what I'm saying? Renee, you live there? Christians, people who were devout, who loved God, lost their homes and their churches. Gone. And many of them lost their lives. Many Christians died. So instead of God killing the voodoo people, he killed all of these believers. And it happens over and over again whenever there's some type of climate, inclement weather. We go straight and say, well, God is destroying folk because. And then what we do is we go right into the book of Revelation. This is why I told you all that there are 2 books that you were forbidden to read, but yet you think you know them so well when a catastrophe happens. Travail says, I'm from there, and that's dumb. All right? There's 2 books. I told y'all, and y'all came up with the answer. Mardi Gras, Darlene, and the voodoo beads. It's ridiculous. The book of Song of Solomon is one of the books that you all just couldn't read because it was too salacious, it was too sexual. Yet, couples were having problems in their relationships. But you were told, no, don't read that. In the book of Revelation, they told you not to read that. And the main reason why they told you not to read it, because they didn't understand it. So if you started reading it, you were going to go to your pastor or Bible teachers for questions, and they couldn't give it to you. So the best answer to any of your questions were, don't read it. And please don't read Daniel's. Well, Daniel was likened to the book of Revelation. Don't read it. But it's easy to quote from certain passages of Revelation, sure. But notice you can't quote from no passages from the Song of Solomon. Yet it has been canonized in the 66 books. So the reason why we're coming up with ridiculous answers to what happened in America when an earthquake or a hurricane or a tornado happens or even a fire happens, we always say, see, this is God is mad, upset with the gays there in, I don't know, where's that? Not Los Angeles, although they're there. Sacramento, not Sacramento. San Francisco. Then God is upset with the gays in San Francisco. Is it San Francisco? Yeah. Where's that? And then something happens in Atlanta. God is upset with the gays in Atlanta. So we have answers, and they are dumb because we don't know God. We don't know the Word. And when I went on YouTube and I started to look at the popular YouTubers, popular ones who were so-called Bible teachers were the ones playing the Golden Globe footage, the skit they did about God's name not being called or something. It was a stupid skit. And some of the ones who, San Francisco, thank y'all. Some of the ones who I used to listen to for Bible knowledge were the ones saying, you see, you don't mock God. California is sitting on a plate. You understand? On a plate. And that plate shifts every now and then. It is volatile like cryptocurrency. And California is due for hurricanes. Always. If a hurricane, earthquake. If an earthquake happens in Chicago, that's news. We're not sitting on the type of plate that California is sitting on. So when the earthquakes happen over there, right away Christians will say, "See, God He's speaking. He's speaking." Come on, Oscar Neshian. Doesn't judgment begin with the house of God? Yes. Meanwhile, the Vatican is safe and sound. Miss me with this. Oh, David Collins, you better preach this, man. If you don't preach this with me. So we are. Here's the thing about all of this. I'm going to show y'all's hypocrisy. Jamie Foxx did a Netflix special. I'm going to show you the hypocrisy of Christians. This is why I called y'all a certain name and term. I used a biblical term. Y'all hated it, but I don't care what you hate about me. I'm going to keep doing this because I don't work for nobody. I work for myself. All right? Jamie Foxx blasphemed God on his stage thingy, and you Christians kissed his behind. You made more excuses for Jamie Foxx than I have ever seen you defend the word of God in any kind of Bible study. Or it was amazing to sit back, pop some popcorn, and watch the show of you Christians, because you was in love with Jamie. He's a funny guy, because he is. How he could say anything on that stage, and you Christians said, "Hey, it's Jamie." But as soon as them white folks was down at the Golden Globes and mocked God, y'all said, "See, the next day God burned down Hollywood." I am so sick I'm telling you, just like how God has an ulcer problem, because he like his water cold or he like it hot. Don't give him no lukewarm water, because let me tell you, God got this internal issue here. Because if you give him a cup of lukewarm, I think that y'all some of the most sorriest folk in American history, and this is why the world, especially the liberal world, hate you. Hate you. Hate you. Because you don't know your God, and you definitely don't know his word. So you just up and just say whatever. And God is the Old Testament God is going around just killing everybody and wiping them out by throwing fire everywhere. Because you don't understand God based off of some Hollywood skit. Did God need that one Hollywood skit? Hollywood and hundreds and hundreds of movies mock God. Why did it take a Golden Globe skit from a skinny white woman to make God so angry that he go in Hollywood and in LA area and start killing people and wiping out Christian homes? I have family down there, y'all. Believers. And friends down there who lost their homes. They love God. And so God got mad with them. He punished them because of Hollywood. Man, let me tell you, the excuses y'all makes me and God vomit. We vomit. Fires in California has become extremely common because of the climate. 2024 was the hottest on record in California. On record. Since the time that mankind have been taking meteorologist, not what you call that kind of records on climate. Since the time we've been taking records, last year was the worst. So what happened? No rain came to California in that area for weeks. No rain. Plus it was hot. So because of that, any spark was going to cause something like that. And many of the fires in California happened not because of some kind of spontaneous combustion. Many of them happened because of some darn fool started the fires. So he started the fire. And y'all still blame God because somebody made a skit on the Golden Globe? Somebody need to help me make this make sense. I need somebody to help me make the sense. God says, I'd rather for you to be hot or cold. Yeah, come on. So I just don't understand. Those fires allowed many to feel what it's truly like to be homeless, which is a big crisis there in California. Woo! Allison, yeah, that's deep right there. So then you get these people who know nothing about climate change and they don't believe in climate change, and I get it. Listen, there's a lot of people who are anti-science. Yeah, I get it. It is what it is. I stopped fighting people on what they believe and what they don't believe. I just stopped. I really do. I do. Let's see. What do you say, Troy? Coincidentally, it happened after the mocking. If we can't say God hand was in that fire, then when can we actually say God hand is on something? Is it only when prophecy happens? Let me say this, Troy, Alfred, and thank you for that. That fire was going to happen. Whether somebody acted a fool on the Golden Globe or not, that fire was going to happen. And if there was no Golden Globe that night, and that fire happened, Christians were going to blame the fire on something else that was against God. You got to know this. Christians need a reason, a biblical reason for something like a tornado or tsunami or anything to happen. We need a biblical reason. And we need something to be a current event. If there is no current event that causes these so-called disasters, then we lean on a book that we don't read, which is Revelation, which we don't know. So this is why I did an in-depth teaching on the book of Revelation and Daniel's, to make sure that we understand that this is something in Revelation that ain't happened yet. And there are people who are amillennialists or preterists more so. And then you got those who are pre-trib, mid-trib, post-trib, and you got all of these theological thoughts on the book of Revelation. But when you read it, you can't see that the things that you read in there has happened before. It is just crazy to have blinders on to read the scriptures and think that that is something that happened. Yeah, Troy, they say they might blame it on Donald Trump for being elected. All right. So I saw people who were, when I watched the YouTube video, people were saying, see, this is Revelation chapter, blah, 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 coming to life. And I said, how ignorant are these people who call themselves Christian? How can you be that ignorant? You do not want to be here during the tribulation. There's two tribulations. There's that first 3.5 years, and that second 3.5 years, billions will die. Do you understand? Billions will die. And in this case, God's got his hands in that. And guess who he uses? He uses Satan. Jesus says, I saw Satan fall from heaven like lightning. Satan's going to pop up, show up. God's going to loose anything or restrains on Satan because he's not chained up. But God, he basically have a dog leash on him. He's able to walk around and deceive, but God has a rope on him that's so long. God's going to cut that rope, let him run loose, and God it's going to allow Satan to act a fool. And God's going to be the one blowing the wind. Notice and over in California, the fires was happening and the winds made it worse. I mean, them winds was blowing. And then there was no rain, so there was no moisture. And so it was bad. It was a ticking time bomb in California. And then came the politics of the Democrats against the Republicans. The Democratic, let's see, the governor there, and then you got the mayor in that certain areas, the Palisades in the certain areas of L.A., and then you got the fire department. For the first time that I've ever seen, the fire department was got involved in the politics. They pushed the fire department in because women were fire chiefs or something like that. And then they had cut the budget of the fire department. So you really, it was a perfect storm. Now, I don't understand how you can cut the budget of the fire department in a state that is prone for fires. I will never understand that. That would be like coming to Chicago and cutting the budget of the snow trucks. That would be like cutting the budget of FEMA down there in the southern states, the East Maritime. You know, because they're going to have a hurricane. They're gonna have one, several. I could not understand how you would cut the budget of a state that's prone. It was a perfect storm, and became a perfect storm for political talking points. And people start taking the blame, blah, 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 blah. I don't care who was in office, who would have been the mayor or the governor, that fire was going to happen. And you Christians was going to say God did it because somebody at the Golden Globe mocked God. Y'all making my headache. So, wherever you live in America, you're not safe. Come close. You're too far away. Come closer. There's two people who are billionaires who own most of the water in California. I mean, I just found that out, y'all. I was shocked. I was shocked. Like I said earlier, Terry, somebody started those fires. I said that earlier in the show. So we blaming God for somebody. So God told the man to whoever it was to start the fires. But two people own most of the water. Y'all go ahead and Google it. Two people, a married couple, own most of the water. I was shocked. And they produce one of my favorite brands of water. It right now is my favorite brand, Fiji Water. I am financially supporting a billionaire couple who I'm gonna have to maybe change my brand. But I'm afraid that, no pun intended, that I'm gonna, out of the frying pan into the fire. I'm gonna support another brand of water, and they might be responsible for child. I don't know. I can't say the word because, YouTube like to block stuff. So I don't know what to buy. I just don't know what to do. So I was shocked that two people own all the water in California. Y'all go ahead and Google it right quick. It shocked me. So this is political. This was criminal. And it was a perfect storm because it was a drought over there. And the elements and matter was ready to burn. And boy, did it burn. So let me read this here. This is about natural disasters. Why does God allow these earthquakes, hurricanes, tsunamis, typhoons, cyclones, mudslides, wildfires, other natural disasters? Like again, California was set on fire on purpose, but let's assume, because y'all are treating this like a natural disaster, basically. All right? Because sometimes when you have mass shootings or what have you, black folks automatically say, some white man and went in there and shot up everybody, until you see a black man's face on the news. And then you like, Stuart and Linda Resnick are the owners of the wonderful company, which has sprawling farmlands in the San Quentin Valley. Or is it San Juan? Quentin. I think it's Quentin because, I never saw the spelling on San Quentin. I think that I'm saying it right. And owns brands like POM, Fiji Water. They have been falsely accused of hoarding water and exacerbating the wildfire crisis currently plaguing the Los Angeles. Right. And I did not agree with that whole hoarding thing. I think that was ridiculous. But they own most of the water. All right. And I think it is important that Christians need to have a different type of talk. And I'm gonna get back to this article in a minute, because I need y'all to come even closer. Hit me right up against my nose. Come close. Hey, Christians. That little white boy went into that school, that church in South Carolina, and killed those 9 people, including the pastor. Remember him? Dylan, is that his name? Dylan or something like that. And then the police took him to McDonald's. Do y'all remember that? And then he's standing before the judge in chains on a screen, a TV screen. How do you plead? On and on. And then you had the families of the deceased getting an opportunity to speak. And these families, when they were speaking, they would end by saying, "And God bless you." Yeah, Dylan Roof. Thank you, Marlene. God bless you. Christians. I think we have been indoctrinated to say certain phraseologies because the church trained us, raised us up to say certain things, and we don't realize what we're saying. And it's sad. It really is. We don't realize what we're saying. When the enemy came over here, thank you, Marshall, Charleston, South Carolina. The enemy came over here on 911 and did his destructive work. And everybody was crying, "God bless America." Listen, you all, I do not say God bless America. I just don't say that. I just don't. My cry is, God save America. Because in England, they at least say, "God save the Queen." Now, I know they don't mean salvation. But I just don't say, "God bless America." I just don't. And this is why some of y'all think that you could let these Jehovah's Witnesses in your house and think you can win them over. God says, the scripture says, don't let them in your house. Don't entertain them. Don't bid them Godspeed. And consider them an accursed. That's right, Alan. They were at Bible study. Accursed. But you all are saying, "God bless you. Godspeed. Let me give you a cup of tea." And that is this indoctrinational rhetoric and banter, we were raised up to just say that to anybody. I just don't say that. God save America, because America is jacked up. Number two, and this might hurt some of y'all. It might hurt you. It might hurt you. It might hurt you down, deep down inside your esophagus area. But let me tell you about the American troops who are abroad. Whether they're in the Army or the Navy or the Marines. What's that other two? When we say God bless our troops, I know y'all gonna hate me today, especially if you're a Republican. I try my best not to be so ignorant to say that God bless all troops. No. The reason why I don't say that is because you are proclaiming a blessing over some of the troops who are literally over there raping girls. Every war we have ever fought in, we've heard accounts of our boys over there raping. Pillaging. Killing innocent lives. And so we throw a wide net. God bless our troops. No. No, sir. Too many of them are wicked and evil. And they're killing. So I'm careful to throw these wide, God bless you. I ain't doing it. Y'all can do it. I ain't doing it. And true, not just girls. I hear you making the effort. I ain't doing it. No. So Christians have this way of just loving on everybody. Just love it. God bless you. And all you doing is you tossing your pearls to swine. Eugenia says, every time I did a home study with the Jehovah's Witnesses, I would have the worst disagreements with my husband. I had to stop. I love that, Eugenia Riddick. Thank you for saying that. I love it. You don't know the half. Violence against other service members is worse. I'm going to say it again. Our boys and girls are over there doing ungodly things. We do not throw a wide net that say, God bless all the troops. You need to say something else. You need to find something else to say. I pray that God would save the troops and protect them from evil. I'm very specific how I pray. What about you? Thomas Jefferson said, I cringe for my country when a true and just God is awakened. Yeah. So y'all may have to redefine what love is. Yeah, that's that Christian S, DT. Y'all need to rethink and get retrained on how to love folks. Because I keep saying this over and over again, y'all are going to love people straight to hell. You hear me? Y'all are going to love people straight to hell. God bless, God bless, God bless. It tells me you don't know the scriptures. No. Paul says, call them accursed. Then he said again, and then I say again, they are an accursed. Anybody who do not receive Christ or teach the same gospel that I'm teaching, he says to separate yourself from them and consider them an accursed. Daryl says, I'm a 20-year veteran. He says, I agree. I can't tell you how many times I worked with a man who fought in the Vietnam War. He was an old dude. I worked with him at a factory back in the 90s, And the stories he would tell me that he was doing made me rethink this whole God bless the troops. This fool was telling me how he was over there, especially in one of them Asian Filipino the Vietnam areas. Okay, Pang Kang Pung. I can't call the names. I just don't know the names. And he would tell me how he'd go over there and he would take those poor Asian girls and have his way with them. And then pass her over to the other troops. And they would gang, you know the word. And they were proud of it. And I would sit there and I would be like, are you serious? You did that? Oh, yeah, it was so good. Asian ping ping is so. And my heart just would beat because I would think about the parents. Dude, can you imagine somebody doing that to your daughter? Can you imagine the Russian troops coming over to America and doing that to our daughters? Can you imagine that? And you over there doing that to these poor people? I said, dude, you are a wicked man. He said, well, that's what I used to do. I don't do that no more. Well, have you repented? And I preached the gospel to that man, that old man, right there in Bellwood, Illinois, on the corner of Madison and First Avenue, at that factory that ain't there no more. We in the back of the dock. I had on a blue outfit with steel-toe shoes. The UPS truck would drive back up, and I would unload the UPS truck. And I was in a humiliating situation because I come from working as an accountant, highly respected. I had 150 employees that came to my office. I wrote their checks out, and I was in a posh office. I would go downtown and work with Deloitte and Touche and Arthur Anderson before they went to bunk, and all these other highly respected certified public accounting firms. That was me. And then I lost my job and I found myself having to pick up dirt in the back of the dock. That was me. And I was so humiliated back there, saying, God, how can I go from the top to this bottom? From riches to rags. Here I am back here saying, yes, sir. No, sir. You need to work overtime. Yes, sir, I'll work overtime. That was me. That's how far I have fallen. I didn't realize that God had me back there to preach the gospel to these men who were the worst. At least I thought they were. I thought they were the worst. Because the ones that had the white shirts and the ties and the nice Armani suits, they probably were the worst. And this man was telling me this stuff, and I said, young man, old, I would call them young man because I don't care how old they are. I call even the old men young men. And I preached the gospel to him back there in that dock. And he said, man, get away from me with that. He was dismissive. He was like, man, listen, I'm on my way to 25th Avenue. What did I say? First Avenue? Thank you. Thank you for you Chicago folks, thank you. I said First Avenue. It's 25th Avenue. That's pretty good. That's pretty good. I'm preaching to this guy, and he went home. But the next morning, when he came back to work, he needed to find me right quick. He said, Walter, I thought about you all night. I couldn't sleep. The Holy Ghost had slapped that man in the face. He couldn't sleep. And that's when I realized I was there sweeping up dirt on purpose. There was a job. I was on an assignment back there to save one soul. Sheila said, did you do that buck dance? I sure did. Shoot, I wanted that overtime. Picking up over here, sir? Go ahead, boy. Yes, sir. If he put his hands on a hot stove and keep it there, I bet he will change. Oh, I must have missed something, Darlene. Okay? Come on, Luann. He thought about that thing. Mary, I set a seed in him. I set a seed in him. And then guess what? They called me to the office, and they had a massive layoff, and they fired me. He kept his job. They fired me because last in, first out. I didn't have the seniority, and they fired me. But they fired me just in the nick of time because I had dropped a seed in that man. I don't know where he is. And I would cry at home because I was wondering, because I was getting ready to land the deal. I was getting ready to land it. I was getting ready to take him into the garage areas and tell him, all right, lift your hands right now. You need to repent before God. He getting ready to save you right now on this job. I was getting ready to do that. And they called me in the office and fired me. Fired me. Lord have mercy. So this here, and y'all wonder why I talk the way I do on the Sir Walter Jones Show, why I'm so fired up and all these things. Listen, people think that they know me. You don't know me. I know society. I know I know the weird and strange relationships of mankind. I know how to get in of them and get out of them. I'm an expert at getting out of them. I'm not that great of getting in. Well, I get in, but trying to get out of them, yeah, I know how to get out of those. And some of the relationships I stayed in there too long. And I'm not talking about romantic relationships. I'm just talking about relationships, period, because there's some relationships y'all are in that are they're platonic friendship relationships that you should not be in because they pulling you down. And this is why many of us who are African Americans are poor today, because our friends are poor. And typically where you live is where you assimilate. You assimilate in the mindset as well. People who were born and raised in projects typically are part of another generation of project people. Since they put up the projects here in the 1950s in Chicago, generation was raised under that same project, whether it was Henry Horner, Cabrini Green, Robert Taylor Home, Stateway, all the names you can think of. Generations were raised in there, and some of the people were able to pull themselves up by their own bootstraps, and they moved out of the projects. The problem was, when they moved into a house, that house, they lost it. Or it fell in on them because they had project mentality. You understand? It's like that book I mentioned the other day, and I think Mary gave me the name of the slave, post-slave, something like that. What's that word, y'all? So that woman wrote the book. It's over there somewhere. Okay? Some people have a mindset of poverty. Some people have a spirit of poverty. And they hang around impoverished people. Some women have a certain caliber of men that they are attracted to, and they run to that man. And many of them know that is not the right relationship, but they can't. Yeah, post-traumatic slave syndrome. Thank you, Mary. And they run to that man because he has that certain look that they desire, and then they get with that man, and then it's no good. Men are the same way. My problem was I was going after the damsel in distress. Ain't nobody talking to her, so I'm the one to go over there and sit by her. I'm the one to talk to her. I'm the one to take her to McDonald's or Burger King when I was young. And then before you know it, became a relationship. And then I'm in a situation with a woman who might be mentally unstable. So my former girlfriends in my youth were women who were abandoned, abused, dismissed, downtrodden. So I was the guy, which is why I'm able to say the things that I'm saying to you all. So I had to pull myself away from those type of people, not just women, but men as well. My friends, some of my male friends were men who didn't know anything about generational wealth. They were going through the same stages as a project mentality person or a person who is impoverished. They win the lottery, they got $1 million, and in 6 months, it's all gone. A fool and his money soon part. So I've learned but my greatest lesson is how much I'm going to ignore you. Come close. I ain't got but 5 more minutes before movie night drops. My greatest lesson in life is how much I'm going to ignore you. I get emails. If you got my phone number, you might text me. You might send me a homing pigeon. You might be at church and all that kind of stuff. When I see that you are no good for me, or you're just no good for me at this moment, or there's something that you keep asking me about, let me tell you, if I think that it is not profitable for our relationship, I'm going to ignore you. I'm too old. I'm too experienced. I got too much seniority in life for me to continue to let you pull me down. So when I see the negativities going on, especially when I know I've got a busy day, busy week, I'm trying to help these people here, and I see that stuff come in about problems after problems after problems and all this stuff, and you think you know me, I ignore you like the plague. Do you understand? Lakeisha, you got to ignore them. Put them in file 13. If an email come in and you can tell that this person is getting on your nerves, why you're reading it? Because reading it is going to just mess up your whole day, and that is the devil way of using that person to try to get in. My brother Larry, the other day, I was watching a YouTube video of a guy who was talking down about my brother Larry on the stocks and what have you, and what stuff he was saying was incorrect. I know it was incorrect because I'm making money. Me and my brother are making money in stocks. So the guy was like, yeah, Larry's lying about this, blah, blah, blah. And he made this video. Others have made videos like that. And so I sent the YouTube to my brother Larry. I said, Larry, look at this fool here. I said, this fool here. And my brother Larry responded back. He says, I can't watch that. I said, why? He said, because I used to watch these videos of people who are against me, and it messed up my whole week. Even though they were lying on me and messed up my whole week, he said, so I have learned to ignore that stuff and throw it in the garbage. I said, that's me. When I see those comments coming in the chat during the live or after the show, people will send me copies of all these people who saying stuff against me. I say, you know what? I ain't reading that. For what? For what? You bring it to me for what? Now, there's some things that people do bring to me that I may have to get rid of because it might be dangerous, or they might be saying something, inaccurate towards Chris Baker. That is what's the word you use when they're liable, not liable, or defaming someone. So I may get rid of that. I don't need the protection. Y'all don't need to protect me. Listen, I really don't care. All right, but when it involves another person, then I have to get rid of that. But when people are saying something against something that I said, or they disagree, blah, 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 I could care less. That's good for me. And so I ignore it. When I did that Celestial video, I was going to read this article, but it's too late. I can't read it. I'll read it. I'll do a part 2 on this stuff. When I did that Celestial video, y'all, let me tell you, man, them people was, hundreds, and I think it's a couple thousand comments over there on Celestial who hated me, and I ain't read none of them. For what? I stand on what I said. I don't care. I know there's women out there. I know they want to do all they can to entrap me. They want to be a part. They want to be Mrs. Jones. I could care less what they want. I can care how. I don't care if they at home and they pull that little battery operated thing out their drawer while they watch me. I could care less. I've heard it all. I've seen it all. I could care less. I have a job to do, is to teach. That's my job, and to prepare y'all for what's to come. That's my job. And that's what I'm going to do. And I am going to spend the 2025 still ignoring you all. Now, there's some emails that I haven't got to, so don't think I'm talking to everybody. There's some emails I need to answer. But the ones that I know that ain't got nothing to do but get caught up in scandals and gossip and stuff like that, ignore or delete. What do I owe you? All I owe you is the gospel of Jesus Christ. That's it. Unless I did something to you where I may owe you an apology, I'll apologize. But if I ain't did nothing to you, I don't owe you nothing but the gospel. And I'll keep ignoring you until you go away. You understand? So as far as this disaster is going on over there, y'all keep praying for them. And if you ain't doing nothing, you ain't reaching out to anybody like that, if you're not sending any money or or whatever you can do, then be quiet. Be quiet. You can talk about how God is punishing them. About God need to punish your city too. He need to wipe your whole neighborhood out. All right. So y'all stop lying on God. We please. All right. Man's folly has everything to do with the world is groaning or it's birth pains. The earth is birth pains going on. All right. It's getting ready to have a baby. That's all this is. And so these things are going to happen. Wherever you live, you're not safe. All right? So get to know God. A building fell on those 18 people, I think it was, and the disciples asked Jesus, were they sinners? And Jesus says they were not worse sinners than anybody out there. He says, but if you don't get it right, a worse thing would happen to you. Stop blaming God for destruction. All right? This is man's inhumanity to man, or this is the nature of the earth is travailing. That's all it is. Stop lying on God. God, we thank you for your presence, your love, and your blood. We thank you for these people who are here. We thank you, we thank you, we thank you. For these people are my people. I am because we are. And we are here, God, to teach this word. And I know that darts are just being thrown at me. And as they're being thrown at me, because I have the full armor of God, all I hear is ding, ding, ding. Thank you, God, for the ding that you protected me until the day is over where I can see you in peace. So we love you, and we give your name the praise in Jesus' name. Thank God. Amen. All right, y'all. 9 o'clock is 9:02. The movie that's playing over there right now is Citizen Kane. My first time seeing the full movie. And let me tell you, it's a good one. If you ain't seen it, go over there and watch it right now. There's some folk over there already watching it with me. Woo! What a great movie. And I can't wait to see you all's comments in the chats, all right? Movie night is a great night. I love y'all. Take care of yourselves. Go to Patreon, the Sir Walter Jones Show. Go to the Upper Room. This week is going to be a hot week of teaching. We only got a couple of chapters to finish in Isaiah, and then we'll get back to some good old-fashioned Bible study in the Upper Room, Patreon, and the Finance Room. Man, Trump getting ready to sit down, y'all. And some of y'all gonna make some good money, and some of y'all gonna lose some money too. We'll talk about that tomorrow and beyond. Take care. See you over there on Patreon.
Fellas, does it seem like you can't get a good woman? Ladies, wonder why you can't keep a man? Then read The 4 Women That Men Desire, Volume 1, by Sir Walter Jones to figure out how to break the cycle. Go to Amazon.com to get your copy today.
It's 10 p.m. Do you know where your children are?